Scanning for audio.
Welcome to a Tin Dog podcast. It feels like ages since I've spoken to you, but of course, it hasn't been. Now, this time, I'm talking about the latest main range Big Finish release, GhostWalk. It's a 5th Doctor story, because Big Finish like to do things in threes. We won't call them trilogies, we'll just call them clumps. Releases all in, well, you know, a clump. So, this is the middle part of the clump. Despite the fact that the 5th Doctor's just appeared in the Diary of River's Song. Perfectly reasonable. And a review for a different podcast. No, here we're talking about something simply marvellous from James Goss. Now there is somewhere, if you want to skip back, an entire massive interview with James Goss, somewhere on the Tin Dog podcast. You can find it by doing a search. And I'd heartily recommend you listen to it. But I have got a massive soft spot for James's writing. He just gets Doctor Who. He gets Doctor Who in a way that makes you surprised he hasn't been snaffled by TV. Seriously, I just don't get it. Because this story, specifically, could be reworked and become a story for TV Doctor Who. Well, I'm saying that. We don't know what TV Doctor Who's going to look like a year from now. But let's face it, 50 odd years worth of history can't be ignored that quickly. I'm rambling, I know. This is a great story. It's almost, but not quite, a collection of short stories. But episode 1, well, let's put it this way. I started off listening to episode 1, and 7 minutes in, there hadn't been an audio, well, the titles hadn't come. Now, we're all used to those lovely scenes before an episode on Doctor Who appears on TV. But the 5th Doctor's time started with an episode. Alright, his first ever story didn't. Started with the regeneration and then it went into the titles, for obvious reasons. But, as a rule, you didn't get any pre-credit teasers. But here you've got one and it goes on for ages. It goes on so long that I was mentally writing the email to Big Finish to go, there might be something wrong with your release. Could you just check it? But of course I was wrong. So very wrong. Because what you've got is a teaser at the beginning. And the teaser's so well done. Now, I didn't realise that it was Fenella Woolgar playing the main non-regular part. She plays the part of a slightly not particularly great ghost walker. So that's someone who captures tourists. Well, they don't capture them. They go up to tourists and say, I'll show you around this city, be it Edinburgh or York. In my head, it was more York because no one had a Scottish accent. But apparently James had visited Edinburgh and done a ghost walk. And you get shown all of the sights and sounds and all of the horrible history of the place. They're awfully good. The ones I don't like are the ones who plant their friends in windows to do ghostly wavings or to be strange shadowy creatures. But they are particularly fun. I am a sucker for history, especially the sort of history that makes you go, all right, yeah. So, you've got a setup of a ghost walk and a shadowy creature who may or may not appear. You've also got it all set firmly in a Doctor Who world. Now, recently, I heard a quote from Mr. Moffat that I'd not heard before, and it makes perfect sense. Basically, Doctor Who is a horror film with jokes. And if you think about it, that is the world's most perfect description of Doctor Who. All of your favourite stories have been, well, scary, spooky, a bit weird. And we all love that sort of thing, trust me, we do. Something a little bit odd, a little bit left field, a little bit strange, something that makes you think, question. And then the monsters come. And of course, being Doctor Who, the monsters are almost uniformly an alien messing about and doing something. So all you have to do is have an alien that's going to turn up and be a bit malevolent. And they've got Stephen Greif. Yes, they've got the bloke from Blake 7. Yeah, I know. You already know all this. But it's a great cast. And you know, when you're listening to it, I couldn't place people's voices. These performances were just washing over me and I was just enjoying them. Sometimes I'm sitting there going, or standing, or doing whatever I'm doing, and going, you know, I know that person from somewhere. Well, in this case, he really was completely wasted, because all I did was just enjoy the hell out of this story. You've got a brilliant romance with Sacha Dhawan, with Nyssa. Now, I know Nyssa was sometimes in love with other characters, and yes, we all know her long-term story arcs that we've experienced thanks to Big Finish's later stories, where we get to experience the older Nyssa. But here we've got a story that in all surface would be brilliant on TV as a Fifth Doctor story. But I think it would work better, slightly cut down, slightly trimmed, and admittedly you'd have to lose some of the lovelier moments on modern TV. So if you're looking for a Big Finish to adapt, this one is ideal. Trust me, you've got a TARDIS full of almost exactly the same number of people. Yes, you could have a couple of them vanishing, and that's what you've got happening halfway through this story. I don't want to spoil it, but I do want to say that several of the characters end up separated from the Doctor. No change there then, all having their own individual adventures. Now, the first episode, after the initial Ghost stuff, is primarily our main cast. And the one thing that the Fifth Doctor's time does, that's the Fifth Doctor crew time, is that they bicker remarkably well. Sadly, I learnt the bickering very early on from these people, and that's probably why I sound halfway between Tegan and Adric. Not good. I don't have the mind or mental capacity of Nyssa. However, you've got some of the best written Adric lines going, and the mistake someone makes with a name, and you know what? It's just brilliant. I want to tell you about some of the things that happen in the individual stories, some of the long-term character development and all of that business, but it all locks together beautifully. All of the characters are true to themselves. Nobody's taken out of their comfort zone, but they've all got skills that are used here. Stuff that Adric's done in the past is just echoed, and, well, it just works. It's nice to hear the aliens' versions of what Earth is really like, and it is a bit, well, yeah, 1970s horror movie does come into it. So is it good? Of course it is. Is the main range going from strength to strength? Of course it is. James Goss, one of his best scripts, and he's written some corkers in the past. If you liked the Fifth Doctor's time, and you liked the bickering of the busy, crowded TARDIS, ideal. This is an ideal thing to listen to. So before I give away any spoilers, I recommend you go away and listen to it now. Listen to the trailer, see how you feel, and come back. So until next time, when I might be talking about Doctor Who, UFO, Blake 7, Torchwood, or a host of other things, be seeing you.
Coming soon from Big Finish Productions. Doctor Who, GhostWalk.
Now, everyone, I would ask you to be brave. We're going to venture into the Catacombs, sealed underneath the city since the 17th century. When the Catacombs were uncovered, this chamber was found. It had been put to sinister purpose. We can only guess that something was worshipped down here, something evil.
Who are you?
Who are you?
It wants me to be afraid. It's like a hand stroking my spine.
You can sense the energy on me, can't you? Because I've traveled in time.
Do you by any chance believe in ghosts?
Big Finish. We love stories.
"2018 brings with it 3 brilliant conventions, all held at the Derby Quad. ShadowCon 2. The UFO convention will be on June the 30th, 2018. Hooverville, the best little Doctor Who convention in the world, is on Saturday the 1st of September, while Big Finish Day is on the 3rd of November 2018. All tickets are available from the Derby Quad website. That was the Doctor Who Tin Dog podcast, available on iTunes, YouTube, Twitter, RSS, Vimeo, and across the internet. Doctor Who and its associated properties are all copyright and trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. Why not become a supporter by visiting patreon.com/tindog. Contact the show on tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. The Tin Dog podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.